Hey there, and welcome to my channel. My name is Sarah Peterno. I'm the owner of Family Nutrition Services in Denver, Colorado, and I'm also the creator of the 30-day online Hashimoto's program called Nourished and Renewed with Hashimoto's. You can find out more about that program in the comments below. Today, if you're new here, I talk about Hashimoto's a lot, and one of the things I'm going to be talking about today is how do you know if you're having an autoimmune flare-up or a flare-up of your Hashimoto's. So one of the things that is quite common, and a lot of my clients have commented about to me over the years, is that they can just be kind of going along, feeling fine, minding their own business, eating well, taking care of themselves, and boom, out of nowhere, a Hashimoto's flare-up occurs. And so I get the question a lot, like, how do I know if I'm having a Hashimoto's flare-up? What does it feel like, and what should I do if I'm having one? So it's a great question. So welcome if you're new here. What I want to actually address first is that flare-ups can be very unique and very individual. So not everybody's flare-up is going to feel the same. I will talk a little bit about my own experiences with flare-ups in just a moment. But what a flare-up actually is when, for whatever reason, the immune system decides it's going to start attacking your thyroid again. So although Hashimoto's thyroiditis is the autoimmune inflammatory disease where the immune system is attacking the thyroid gland, it's not doing it every day, all the time. One of the things that we use to measure the degree of autoimmune activity against the thyroid are the antibody levels. So antibody levels can be high, antibody levels can be low, and sometimes they can just stay stagnant and not change for a while. So actually having antibody tests frequently is something that I do recommend. A lot of doctors just say, oh, we've already tested it. We already know you have antibodies. We already know you have Hashimoto's. We don't need to test it again. Wrong. We do need to test it because what we're trying to do is to re-regulate the immune system, and we're trying to stop the attack on the thyroid gland, and we're doing that through food, supplementation, lifestyle measures, and we're trying to get the immune system to calm down so that the autoimmune attack will stop and thereby allow the thyroid to again produce proper amounts of thyroid hormone and again to stop some of those symptoms that are associated with the autoimmunity or the thyroiditis. So if you've been given a diagnosis of Hashimoto's, probably what happened is that you were diagnosed at a time that you were in a flare. It may have been obvious to your provider or whoever was ordering and running your labs for you that your TSH was out of range, that your T3, free T3 and free T4 were also probably out of range. You may have had ferritin out of range, which is your iron storage and very important for the proper conversion of T4 to T3. And also it may have been diagnosed because of the elevated antibodies that were found through your lab work. Now, in my practice, the goal is to try to lower antibodies as best as we can, again, through natural measures. I have technically been in remission with my own Hashimoto's now for going on almost 20 years, but from time to time, I do have little tiny blips in my lab work that shows me that perhaps I am experiencing a flare. If you've watched my other video about seasonal changes with Hashimoto's for myself personally, I've actually found that it is during the change of seasons that I typically am at most risk or most likely to have some of these little blips show up on my lab work radar screen. So for me, one of my biggest, most noticeable signs is the changes in my own body's thermoregulation. I might be really hot when it's supposed to be cold, or it might be really cold when I'm supposed to be warm. And so when I start to feel like, oh my gosh, my body temperature is really dysregulated, for me, I know, okay, something's probably going on with my thyroid. Also for me, one of the things that is a pretty sure sign I'm having a thyroid flare-up or an autoimmune attack against my thyroid flare-up is that I will get a lot of aches and pains. I will feel like I am an old woman. I will feel like I've got, really creaky joints. It hurts to get out of bed in the morning. My feet will hurt. My knees will hurt. My hands, and I'll have a lot of kind of carpal tunnel aches and pains as well. So those two things for me primarily are my kind of like things to look for, right? And when I start to feel those, I know that I probably need to give a call into my doctor's office. I do want to get some labs ordered, and there are some things that I want to do to kind of help re-regulate my immune system. I'll get to that in just a second. But other symptoms that I've heard of from my clients when they are, potentially experiencing an autoimmune flare-up against their thyroid gland, also can be a quick change in weight, either a weight gain or a weight loss, like around 5 to 10 pounds in a very short period of time. That can also be a sign of a thyroid flare-up. Also feeling sick a lot of the time, but not really having an infection. Maybe feeling like your glands are swollen, feeling like your throat is hurting, maybe having some sinus pressure and pain, or headaches can be another one as well. For women, one of the top signs of a thyroid flare-up is actually a change in your menstrual cycle. So we know that our hormones are all intricately connected, and our thyroid hormones are primarily responsible for some of the other hormone activity in the body, like estrogen and progesterone for women. So if you actually notice that maybe your period becomes irregular, or you have a particularly longer period or a heavier period, or maybe no period, that can be a sign that there's something going on with your thyroid that is out of the ordinary as well. So again, triggers can be based on a lot of different things. For me, it's seasonal. I really notice that as the weather changes, I'm very sensitive to those changes. Other triggers for a Hashimoto's flare-up can also be stress. Anybody feeling any stress these days? I know I am. So we all have to be very careful. For those of us with Hashimoto's, during this coronavirus time period, we need to be careful that we're not putting our body in a state of being vulnerable to a Hashimoto's flare-up, right? We don't need any kind of autoimmune attack going on against our body right now. We need to have a nice, healthy, normal, happy, functioning immune system to help keep us strong and healthy in the face of a potential viral illness right now. So stress, we want to, practice good stress coping techniques, deep breathing, mindfulness, maybe yoga, taking good care of ourselves in terms of our sleep, and also just, putting ourselves first in terms of our priority for our health over the priorities of others at times. I get the question a lot, what's happening in my body if I'm having a flare-up? Is this dangerous? Do I need to be concerned at all? And I would just say you need to be observant, and you need to be aware, and you need to be intuitive in that moment, to be listening to what's going on in your body. Sometimes it takes a couple days or maybe even a couple weeks for you to realize, yeah, I'm just not feeling like myself, and I feel like I am maybe having some thyroid dysregulation as part of an autoimmune flare-up against my thyroid. So the dangers might be that you go too hypo, or especially going to hyperthyroid if you're having a lot of inflammation against that glandular tissue. Please keep in mind that thyroiditis, as part of the Hashimoto's picture, means you can go both directions. Sometimes you might be hypothyroid, sometimes you might be hyperthyroid. And if you're taking medication, you do want your doctor to be monitoring that closely so that adjustments can be made if there's a little bit of a flare-up taking place. So what are some of the things that we can be doing if we are experiencing Hashimoto's flare-up? What are my go-to things? Well, first of all, it's definitely maintaining a healthy, organic, plant-based with optimal protein diet. These are very, very important for the foundation of our total health, not to mention our immune system health and our endocrine health and our thyroid health, right? So focusing on as much fresh produce as you can. I really encourage you to try to get, 5, maybe 10 servings of fresh fruits and vegetables per day in your diet. They can be raw, steamed, broiled, braised, grilled. You can even have fermented vegetables, which are really delicious, and also an adequate amount of sea vegetables because they're a good source of iodine. So seaweed, right? So we think about maybe some Asian flavors. You can get seaweed in like the dried state at a health food store or at an Asian market that may be nearby you. And just a little bit goes a long way. What I like to do is actually take a strip of kombu seaweed. It kind of looks like a little piece of black paper, and I actually like to cook it with my gluten-free grains. And so if I'm making maybe steamed brown rice or quinoa or buckwheat, I will actually just put that little strip of kombu seaweed in with my grains, and I also cook it with bone broth, so lots of minerals to impart all of that good nutrition in when I'm cooking my gluten-free grains. Okay, now some people don't tolerate grains, so please take this advice only if you do tolerate grains and you find that that's a health supportive inclusion in your diet. Definitely, I do recommend if you have Hashimoto's that you eat a gluten-free diet, and you probably need to follow this channel and watch my video all about why you need to go gluten-free if you have Hashimoto's. Okay, so your foundation diet is really important for helping both to prevent thyroid flare-ups, but also what you can do to get back on track if you're feeling like, okay, maybe I was stressed out and I was eating more carbs and more cookies and more sugar, or maybe I've been drinking more alcohol because I'm at home all the time with coronavirus. Whatever it is, just getting back to your foundation diet. As far as beverages go, kombucha is really good because of the probiotics and the good bacteria cultures that are present in that, and also herbal teas, fresh pressed juices, lots of fresh spring water or filtered water. Coffee, I have a video about coffee as well. You can check that one out if you're interested. Drinking too much coffee, if it's revving your adrenal glands, might be one of the things that is sending you into a Hashimoto's flare-up, okay? So let's see how this kind of goes together. You're feeling stressed, you're drinking more coffee because you're like maybe tired and you're just trying to do a lot of things or multitask or whatever, and so you're drinking more coffee, and that's starting to rev your adrenal glands, and in turn that inflammation because of the stress hormones in your body is causing the flare-up to your thyroid. So certainly be mindful of how much caffeine consumption and also alcohol consumption. Alcohol is dehydrating. It robs our body of nutrients. I have a video here on my channel all about should you be drinking alcohol. And if you do decide that alcohol is a complementary part of your diet in moderation, then you may be interested in trying the link that's also in the pinned comments below, and signing up for Dry Farm wines so that you're getting the low sugar, paleo, keto friendly, health conscious wines that aren't full of all that yucky commercial additives and preservatives and flavorings and sugars that are found in a lot of other wines on the market. So I know for me personally, I don't do well with any of those sulfites, additives, blah, blah, blah. And so if I'm going to drink responsibly, I go with the Dry Farm wines. You may want to check that out as well. Staying hydrated, I talked about that already. Talked about getting restful sleep, self-care. Certainly, again, because for me, the temperature fluctuations and the aches and pains, I have found that my incredible go-to for just helping to soothe my body when I am feeling like a thyroid, I call them little thyroid storm or a little thyroid flare-up is maybe at hand, is a really warm bath with Epsom salts. That has the magnesium sulfate in it, which can be absorbed through the skin, and it's really good for helping to relax muscles. So when I feel achy and kind of cranky in my body, that feels really good. And also because the warm bath can warm me up if I'm feeling really cold. And especially in fall and winter, I take a lot of those Epsom salt baths. So I hope that some of these little tidbits have been helpful for you. Let me just check my notes and make sure I said everything I wanted to say. I guess the bottom line that I kind of want you to know is that I have lots of videos here on my YouTube channel to address the most common topics, the most common questions that come up with Hashimoto's. But if you are here, you just stumbled upon my channel and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm newly diagnosed with Hashimoto's, or I've had Hashimoto's for a long time and all of a sudden I'm feeling like crap again. Or if you're going through another maybe change of life, maybe you just had a baby, maybe you're going through menopause or manopause, right? Any of these kind of big hormonal changes in life, and you're feeling like you need some additional guidance and support, you should check out my Nourished and Renewed with Hashimoto's 30-day online program. The link is down below. This is a 30-day program that really is kind of accumulation of my 20 years of working with my clients in private practice as a Hashimoto's expert and as a Hashimoto's patient advocate, helping people work more closely and more effectively with their doctors. This program has everything you need to know about your own lab analysis and review. It has information about how to do the right type of food elimination diet for you based on symptoms. It also has information for regulating other hormones, brain and mood, sleep and stress. It has all kinds of great stuff, not to mention tons and tons of handouts and tons of very in-depth videos. So if you like what you're seeing here, you may want to check out Nourished and Renewed with Hashimoto's. This is really kind of my baby, and I did it for all of you guys because I know when I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's more than 20 years ago, none of this stuff was out here. I don't even know if YouTube existed, but it sure would have been awesome to have a resource that I could have gone to get help. So thanks for coming to my channel. Please like it, like this video, subscribe to my channel, set your notifications because every Tuesday I put out a new video. And by the way, I don't just talk about Hashimoto's. I also love to talk about family nutrition. I love to talk about detox. And every now and then I get in my kitchen and cook up a recipe for you guys. So thanks a lot. I'll see you next week and take care. Bye.